Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Pod Maverick. I'm Kirk Henderson, joined by Josh Bowe. We're your editors over at MavsMoneyball.com. How you doing, Josh?
I'm doing good. How is Vegas life treating you? You're recording live on the scene.
Yeah, it's okay. Kind of a kind of a weird trip. We didn't get to record on Saturday just due to timing. It just made more sense for you to go ahead and record a show when you were able to watch the game. And I watched the show and then went and helped out the DLS guys because they needed to sort of make it through. And we've been recording every Monday, anyways, for the summer now, and we're just going to go ahead and do so tonight here. I think we can talk a little bit about both games, obviously. And we'll recap this game, probably take a little bit of a break because we've not been having those mid-show breaks during these Summer League podcasts. And then I can talk a little bit more kind of about the weekend in general and just sort of how things are looking. Like the discussion around the Mavs, I'm finding it to be really interesting with people who are not us. Sometimes during the year that vexes me because it's like people who aren't watching closely enough. But the Mavericks are, I think, a very interesting team for a variety of reasons. So today's Summer League game was horrendous.
Yeah. I was like, how much do you actually want to recap this one?
I think it's at least I think it's worth bringing up. Yeah, no Cooper. The Ryan Nembhard came out gunning early and was fine. Miles,
Miles Kelly.
Miles Kelly was okay, and the rest of the team just stinks. Like they just really
kind of by design.
I don't know. It's like you want to watch a good summer league game, and they don't run anything interesting on offense. Their bigs are so bad at the basics. We're talking like screen setting and location and just moving to space on the floor. So it's like Nembhard doesn't have anybody to pass to, and all And this it's not like the Hornets were totally showing out either. McNeely didn't play, and Kon Knueppel did, and he was really good. Knueppel was really good.
Yep.
He has dad YMCA ankles, and but he moves really fluidly. He's really strong, and he had a good time staring over at Cooper Flagg every time he did something cool. And at one point the lead's just 25 by the Hornets. I was sitting with Noah Weber and Mike Curtis, and it's just you're just kind of rolling your eyes at this game because I don't want to be disrespectful too much, but I don't know. I've been to so many summer leagues, and there are times where I wish the Mavericks cared a little more about this, where it's you're putting together teams, and it's just this is a bunch of guys on this summer league team. They have 2 guards, and nobody can penetrate. Teams press the whole game. Or at least, press is not a strong term, but they're definitely pressuring the ball 60 feet away. And that just taxes the Mavericks over time because these are guys that are not used to bringing up the ball.
Yeah. And, it's hard to field a competitive Summer League roster when they only had 1 pick. They didn't have a second rounder. That would have made a big difference. Nembhard kind of counts almost like a second rounder because he probably should have been drafted. But you look like Jamarian Sharp, this is his second or third summer league.
He's not a basketball player. He's not. I don't even know if he's a professional basketball player. No, he's a G League player.
Yeah, and I don't know why Melvin Ajenka is not playing.
I think he's hurt.
Okay.
So that was why I wish we would have. I found that out yesterday. And
that
shows you how
that's
much.
That's a big. That's a big deal. I don't know how good he is, but he, they drafted him. He probably would be, you would at least rather see him than some of these other guys. The biggest disappointment has to be Maxwell Lewis. This is entering his third year, and he looks not good in any of the 3 games. That kind of seals the deal. He's probably not an NBA player unless something crazy changes. That was the guy I was kind of hoping, because we all kind of knew Cooper was going to get shut down after 2 games. It's kind of been the norm the last few years with these top picks that have nothing to prove. You kind of play a couple of games to appease the TV partners and to sell some tickets and to get some ratings and ad revenue. And then, because I bet you if the Mavericks had their way, if the teams didn't care about that stuff, they just wouldn't play these guys at all with how protective teams are of guys now with injuries and
Which
stuff.
I get annoyed with. Like the Bulls are playing Buzelis today. And he was an effective NBA player last year. I wish more teams regularly sent guys who just need reps. They just and the Mavericks don't necessarily.
Yeah, Cooper doesn't need reps. Yeah.
But over the years, the Mavericks have had guys like somebody reminded me in the comments of a show the other day that Josh Green never played a minute of summer league. Josh Green.
Well, it's because COVID. He came in through the COVID year. I don't think they even had summer league.
They found reasons for him to not play, and it's a developmental process. And there's always there's way too much oh well, if a guy's going to get embarrassed, blah blah blah. It's who cares? It's basketball. Do you want him to be embarrassed on national television, or can you get embarrassed, in a summer league game? I don't know. This sort of stuff just makes me annoyed when I'm watching games. It's the way other teams are handling stuff a little bit different. Obviously, Charlotte's not a great example because they're not a very good team, but they might be with some of these guys. I don't know, it was something.
Yeah, the only other guy on the roster besides Nembhard and Flagg that I was looking forward to watching was Lewis, because I was like, wow, he was like a pretty not highly regarded. I mean, he still was a second rounder in 2023, but we know we're friends with smart draft people that really liked him, and he just, it's to be in your third. I guess I don't know if he's played in both. I mean, I assume he played in summer league last year, but to be entering your third NBA season and playing 3 summer league games and not looking good in any of them, it's not good. And then everyone else, like Nembhard is great, and then Kelly seems solid enough for what a two-way undrafted guy. But everyone else, if Ajenka is not playing, there's no one else that even registered. This is just Texas Legends roster fodder for the most part.
And that might even be a strong way to look at it. Did you see that what I'd found as far as the shot making for the Mavericks during summer league so far? I put that in the recap.
I didn't get to read your recap.
Good. So take a guess. I removed Cooper Flagg's attempts and makes. Take a guess for what the rest of the Mavericks are shooting through 3 summer league games
without Cooper Flagg.
Without Cooper Flagg's numbers,
25%.
No, not that bad. The whole team, the shooting as a team.
Okay, well, that was my guess. 25. What is it? What, 30?
It's 38. It's 38. But as an NBA,
that's better than I thought it would be. Oh, not gonna lie. They shot 33% today. So.
Yes. Yeah, that's why it's they actually shot okay against the Spurs. No, they shot okay against the Lakers. It was Flagg who was having the hard time.
Right, everyone but
against
Flagg
the Lakers.
shot okay.
So I don't know. It's just this has been I don't want to say painful, but I get excited about it every year, and then it's just there's elements of it that are really just not super interesting. I will say the Spurs game was pretty. I'm sad we didn't get a chance to talk about that at the time.
Yeah, tell me up close, because I'm watching. I didn't even watch it live, so tell me what it was like watching that Cooper game up close.
It was interesting because he obviously. I think that if you just look at the box score, you thought Cooper had a great game. He left a lot of meat on the bone. A lot of meat on the bone. His numbers ended up okay once the Spurs were out of it, but he started the game 1 for 4, and then he started the game 1 for 4 from the free throw line. The 5 missed free throws were pretty rough. But again, 13 free throws in the game is something, and he had 3 turnovers in 60 minutes of Vegas basketball. And considering how much he had the ball, I thought that was really interesting.
That was the number that jumped out. I said that on the podcast I did Saturday, was the turnover number. If you had to pick a number from Flagg's 2 games, that's the number that sticks out to me. Whoa, considering how much they just gave, and not just gave him the ball, but gave him the ball and then didn't do
no.
They just gave him the ball and let him go for the most part.
I know you only have a certain number of days to install actions and plays and stuff.
No, I know it's not. I'm not criticizing the Mavs.
No, I am a little bit. Okay. Cooper Flagg, I go ISO people is not a game plan, and and maybe it's just they want to see what he can do. And there's really no downside to him just being force-fed possessions. But I think you and I've talked about this for sure. I did not talk about this on the DLLS show, but the Mavericks are just going to have to reconcile who they think they are versus who they're going to be. Because if you're going to be giving the ball to Flagg and treating him like Giannis did, like Giannis was treated by Kidd in his rookie, his early seasons, it obviously was very beneficial to Giannis's development. The Bucks also sucked, and there's just some challenges at hand there. Like multiple people throughout this weekend, and we'll go back to this, but multiple people this weekend are talking to me asking who I think the Mavs starting five is going to be, and to one degree or another, I don't think it matters because the Mavericks are old, and
they're going to have that
they're
choice
going to have
made for them.
Yeah, that just susses itself out. And like I mentioned, I was sitting with Noah Weber, and guys like to remind me, it's like, oh well, there are just lots and lots of injuries, and I'm like, is there any reason to think that there won't be more injuries? Like, I'm not being, it's just the nature of basketball. And then who the Mavericks have, they're just gonna be kind of an odd roster is where we go with it. But Flagg was fun in person. One of the things I think they're gonna have to work out of his game is the KG jump shot. Don't know if you noticed that he really likes catching the ball at the top of the key and taking a dribble into his shot and shooting it kind of 17, 18 footer. So he's going to need to shoot sidestep threes. He's going to need to practice some of the, like, just flat out catch and shoot. That's just my take. I mean, I could be wrong.
Yeah. And he's just athletically, he's as advertised, right? That's
oh my God. Well, that's actually what's so funny is my friend Brian is here in the room with me. He's one of the guys that pointed me into Flagg a long time ago. And Flagg was a defensive prospect forever. And we haven't talked about the guy's defense one bit, because it doesn't really pertain to the summer league stuff. Because it's not like he's it's kind of as Josh in the comments say, it's kind of a glorified scrimmage. So let's see where we go here. But I did like watching him. He's going to be a lot of fun. And the Mavericks are obviously very excited about him, as they should be. Let's go to a break here, guys. Yeah. We apologize that some of the we've been going up and down with the number of ads. We're sort of required to do number of ad breaks within the show, and these last two we didn't do it because we were off our schedule. But go ahead and listen to them. It's the one way Josh and I actually directly get paid. Like, they can tell when people are listening versus skipping through. So that'd be really great. Josh and I will be right back. All right, Kirk here, sounding like I'm very tired of Summer League, but I'm actually not. Just kind of a long day. For reasons that will never make sense to most people in my life, I opted to go to the Sphere last night and see the Backstreet Boys concert with a friend of mine, because the tickets got down to a point where I was like, I kind of want to see this, and I was glad I did. It was a really, really weird experience, but. Time here in Vegas has been good. The Mavericks are sort of people are very interested to see how the Mavericks are going to do, is what I'll say.
Yeah, like, I want to know now. You're in Vegas, like, you're literally. That's the thing about Vegas that's crazy. Summer League is everyone's there, like everyone, fans, media, teams, and it's not just like the GMs are there. Some of the owners are there, front office personnel, some players are there to support the younger guy. Like, everyone is there. So It feels like it sounds funny, but this is like when you get to talk the shit, and you got, like, this is where the rumor mill kind of churns and relationships get made, and you get to find out a little bit more, because it's such a personal environment, because it's so informal, because guys are just walking around. Like, it's not like they're being, I'm sure there's more like walls put up now compared to like where it was 10 years ago. But
not really.
Yeah.
Like, there's like, I don't know if you saw this. Trae Young was complaining on one of the broadcasts. People, it's just like, there's just nowhere to go. It's a small-ish facility. I'll tell you though, saw D'Angelo Russell today. He came to watch the Mavericks. Mm-hmm. And we've already talked about the basketball stuff, and we're like, all right, this is the best of options that not everyone's particularly thrilled with. I wonder how much, if the Mavericks are bad, he's going to annoy us in a different way because he has somebody following him around, recording him for his YouTube channel at all times. At all times. And I just, like, recording Summer League content, like, what, there's nothing to record. Like, the Mavericks are down 25. What are we doing here? That made me laugh here. And I don't know, it was... Go ahead.
What do people say? Because you talked about it, you hinted at it earlier.
Yep.
What you get to talk to a lot of non-Mavs people, non-Mavs media people. We kind of know. We've been talking because the team hasn't really changed all that much since the season ended. So it's been what? The season ended in April, May, June, July. It's been almost 3.5 months. We've kind of been talking about the same thing. For about 3.5 months because they haven't, knock on wood, but presumably this is the roster they're going to have going into the season. I want to know, talking to a different perspective, like talking around Vegas, you said people think this team is interesting. Do people think this team is good? Do they think it's bad? Like, what are people talking about when they talk about this team? When you're talking to other people that aren't Mavs people that have been talking about it for, 3 months is basically what this team's going to look like next season.
So when you talk to the more analytically minded, the tape driven people, there's more of a skepticism at play. I ran into one of the guys that helps with the Ben Taylor show, Thinking Basketball, and I just flat out told him, I was like, I'm really looking forward to whatever Ben has to say about the Mavericks because they're going to be just super weird. And there's more skepticism for a lot of the reasons that, like, myself and you and Bobby Corrala have sort of talked about this, where it's just the Mavericks don't have dribbling. They don't have great shooting. And that's just not how successful teams are built in today's NBA. You do obviously have a strong defensive-minded team. But then on the flip side of this is you have people who talk about the game a lot and who are just sort of enamored with the name content that the Mavericks have. Is that me or you in the background? Oh, that's a fan. Sorry, this is a weird audio hiss for a second. And people are having, the folks who are a little higher on the Mavericks, I would say, just they're so enamored with the name quality.
Talent.
Because the talent, like, and this is what I keep saying, where it's like, I don't think the Mavericks are bad in so much as I don't understand how they fit. It's like you go through the starting lineup today. I met the Clippers. His Twitter handle is Dime Dropper, and we were just talking about the team, and I'm like, I just don't understand. Are they really gonna run 4-4 like a one guard, 4 forwards, or 3 forwards and a center?
Yes.
If that's what they're
Clay coming off the bench, like they still got to figure this stuff out.
Is Cooper legitimately the 2 guard? And it's like, I couldn't believe it when kids said it. And then, this is a while ago, and it's just vexing because I think that, and you and I did mention this. I think most nights the Mavericks are going to be pretty difficult to play against, to score against. But then how do the Mavericks score? And that's sort of what I keep coming back to. But a lot of the folks that I'm talking to out here that are a little less invested in, that are more invested in like the narrative side of basketball, really want to emphasize that this list of guys are really good, and really good players should be able to figure it out. I mean, and it's a powerful argument, really.
Yeah, you look at the roster and each individual name for like their top 8, like you're like, okay, like D'Angelo Russell is a backup point guard, even if you have qualms with him, like that's okay. But Kyrie has to come back. But like Anthony Davis is good. Derek Lively and Daniel Gafford are really good centers. PJ Washington is an awesome forward. Klay Thompson's still a really good shooter. Cooper's obviously the number 1 overall pick, potential generational like you just talking through each guy and you're like, these guys are good. And like you said, it's about how they all fit together. That's why I think some nights, and I think this is like the 4th podcast where I said this, there are going to be nights where they look like the greatest fucking team. Like they are going to destroy certain teams, especially teams that have like the 15th best offense or worse, like below average offensive teams. Like they're going to go on an East Coast trip and play like Atlanta, Charlotte, Washington, Miami, and they're going to win those. Like they're going to win all those games with like 25 points per game or something. Like they're going to, as long as everyone's healthy, of course. Like if everyone gets, but I don't want to talk about that because like, okay, if they're hurt, there's nothing to talk about. But like if they're healthy, there are going to be some games where they look like they're going to look like killers. But then there's going to be games where they play teams that have shooting and floor spacing, and they're going to shoot 25% from three and lose by 28, and you're going to be like, what? Like I think it's just going to be a roller coaster season, especially until Kyrie comes back. Maybe when Kyrie comes back, it stabilizes a little bit, but again, he has to actually come back and be himself. Like if he comes back and he's still 50%, they're still kind of treading water a little bit. But that's why I think there's just so much talent. They can't, like, they're not gonna be so bad that they win like 23 games unless everyone gets hurt.
Yeah, I think like the floor for this team is like 35 games. Unfortunately, I think the ceiling might be 42 games. Like I just don't see a lot of I don't know. We'll circle back to that at some point. But I will say, like I brought up today, when Anthony Davis gets hurt against the Rockets and then plays as a lesser version of himself, you have Derek Lively that's hurt. You have Dan Gafford that's hurt. We really didn't get to see extended looks at 4-5 groupings.
So we don't even know what it's going to look like.
That's right. That's
right. Good or bad.
And I think if you're an optimist, one element that you could focus on is the Mavericks having Anthony Davis as more of a playmaker than a play initiator. And, for a while there were like weird arguments about Anthony Davis versus Giannis. And it's like, well, it's not really a question because Anthony Davis can't do what Giannis does. Sorry, the end. That said, I also don't mind, like, if you're looking for ways to eat up possessions and try different stuff as a Maverick, I think, we talk a whole hell of a lot about giving the ball to Cooper Flagg and letting him make decisions. I think they have to do it with Davis more. Just a lot, frequently, frankly.
The post I'm writing about Anthony Davis, I pulled like 8 clips, basically, of some of his assists that weren't just, him swinging the ball around the 3-point line and someone making a jumper,
right?
Or those fake assists where he'll pass it to someone and they'll take like 8 dribbles and score a layup and they count that as an assist. That happens a lot, by the way, to everyone. That's not a dig. That's like every player gets that.
No, that's like a home scorekeeper thing.
Yeah. I looked like they ran some pick and roll, like Davis as the ball handler and Gafford as the screener, like big pick and roll. And like, there's some stuff there. Like they could get weird and funky in an interesting, a good way. And there's potential there because I think Davis is a better passer than maybe you kind of offhandedly think. Like he averaged almost 5 assists per game with Dallas. And again, that's only like 9 games.
Yeah.
So it's hard to tell how real it is, but like he's a pretty good passer. And
I think he was point guard at one time before he grew 11 inches and became Anthony Davis. Yeah.
They got to lean into that though. Like,
I hope they do. I think that's one of the things I'm taking away from Summer League after talking to different people. It's like, well, this is a thing. And you worry about Anthony Davis wear and tear, but as the dime dropper guy was talking about today, he's like, one of the things I noticed with Anthony Davis is that a lot of times he just goes to the top of the key and stands there. It's just like useless stuff where it's just like they've got to find ways to get him moving in interesting way in interesting situations. So
right, they can't just go possessions where he just kind of like he's not a floor spacer. So if he's playing the 4 and he's not like involved, if he's just standing in the corner or standing at the top of key, he's not doing anything because no one cares about a 28% 3-point shooter standing at the 3-point line. So if he's going to play the 4, they got to like, look, I'm willing to give the roster a chance because there's so much talent. The team just has to make sure they do stuff with it. They can't just roll out these 5 guys and play at times like they did last season where it was just like, all right, we're just kind of playing Anthony Davis pretending he's like a stretch 4 when he's really not. But I did find some clips like him and Gafford they picked up their chemistry really fast in the pick and roll. Like they just got to do that stuff more often. And we'll see. This coaching staff, like Kidd with the regular season, he's either vanilla to the point that drives us crazy, or he gets so weird that he's either on one of the other end of the spectrum, right? He's
Mhm.
either way too vanilla and not getting weird enough or trying new things enough, then we get mad at it, or he tries things too much and doesn't settle into something more conventional. So we'll see what he does, but I hope I have to assume that they're going to try this kind of stuff to make
Hope
it work.
so.
But I mean, now we've done 25 minutes, but I just wanted to ask you, like, any other fun Vegas stories, meeting people, talking to people you haven't seen in a while, or meeting new people, or just any fun, just a fun story.
I'm trying to think of any like actual
Don't have
stories.
to incriminate anyone. If you
No,
don't
no. I
want
mean, I had one of the people I really wanted to talk to was somebody. So I met Fran Fraschilla a really long time ago before I even wrote for Mavs Moneyball.
And he
Because
lives in DFW,
I
doesn't
think
he?
he does, but he's just
Yeah.
traveling. He's doing stuff
Yeah,
all
he
the
travels
time.
all the time. Yeah.
And and we met at the United States versus Brazil warm up game. I like tweeted that I was nearby, and he like turns around and looks at me and came over and found me. And he was like I talked to him about Marcelo. And then that I reintroduced myself today, and he remembered the game. And then he was just like, yeah, the dude's still playing at 42. Like, what is going on? He's like, I watch tape of him and I use his tape as like teaching tool stuff. And it was just neat. Met another ESPN guy today. I did actually, like, Nico was there today. He talked and gave kind of a 30-second interview to NBA TV and talked about how Kyrie's rehabbing all the time. And, he said Kyrie's ahead of schedule, which, like, I think you could tell he like regretted almost immediately, because then he said we're in no rush to make Kyrie come back. Just very classic Nico. Can't get out of his own way kind of thing. But trying to think if there's like anything that's like actually worth sharing. I mean, it's always nice. Like for me, I like coming to Summer League to a certain extent because I like seeing and meeting different both media people and then fans. Like one guy, I can't remember his name. I'm so sorry. He came up to me before the second game and was like, I'm a Vegas local, but I'm a Mavs fan. I listen to you and Josh all the time. It was just stuff like that. I saw this like lots of different, like an old lady that had to be like my mom's age with a Fire Nico shirt on. Like just like you just see weird, like you just see funny weird stuff. Like you can play, like you see all sorts of incredible jerseys.
Yes, the jerseys is probably my favorite part.
Yeah, it's a real place for sickos, and it re-energizes me about kind of doing this as a whole. I don't sound it right now, but that's mainly just because I'm tired. But it's a nice thing. Our guys, I haven't teased them about it too much. David Trink and what's wrong with me? Tyler came out here, and they were out here and watching a bunch of games too. And like the main reason they haven't written anything about it yet is because they would like basically go from the games, like going out and having a good time. So, and I didn't want to but it's it's an interesting experience. I talk about it every year. Whoa, hello, sorry, I have my laptop literally on my lap. So I'll probably think of some more stuff in the coming days and weeks. I did kind of talk to some people out here that I'm going to try to have on as like guests over the next several months as we try to innings eat. One of the real challenges about Nico making sure that we're America first basketball is now there's just no overseas basketball stuff that we can use to talk about.
Oh yeah, well, Cooper will be on Team USA.
Yes, very soon. That's actually a great point. That's a really good point. But it's also the United States is so good at basketball now that you don't really get the off-year tournament stuff.
Yeah,
like my friend, my friends Danny and Sean who cover the Blazers are getting like the Chinese bump, and it's like, oh hey, do the Mavericks need to draft a Chinese player? What's Wang Jiji up to? Can we get another one of those going?
Yeah, that's why Cuban drafted Satnam Singh, because that was $1 billion market.
But the difference is there's not a lot of NBA fans in India. There are so many NBA fans in China.
Oh no, I know. Yeah,
it's out of control. I mean, the Chinese media folks who are here, there are a lot of them. So something. Anyway, we'll be back. I'll probably host a show Friday. I don't think we're gonna do shows after these next two. If there's at least one more game, there might be two. We're not gonna do shows.
Yeah, we'll check in every week, but yeah, the post.
If once I get back to work and if it feels like my work week is okay, I will try to do a live show on Friday afternoon just because it's I would like to hear from people who wanted to tune in. But I'll schedule that with enough time in advance. We'll see what's going on.
Okay.
All right. We'll talk to everybody soon. This has been Kirk Henderson and Josh Both. Thanks so much for listening and listening to the ads as well. Everybody be good and go Mavs.